Next, I'd like to introduce one of the hardest working people I have ever met in my entire life. Passionate, dedicated, committed, never gives up, stays grounded, and is so devoted to iBRIDGES. Mahboob Bolandi, founder and president of Karafarin Canada. Apparently, I totally butchered it last time, so bebakhshit. And he's going to introduce the panelists, and they're going to discuss the future of iBRIDGES.
Thank you, Asiya Jan. Dear friends, my name is Mahboob Bolandi, and I'm the local Toronto-based board member of iBRIDGES. So this morning, Fereydoun John told us about the genesis of iBRIDGES, how it started and how it evolved into successful organizations that you see today. And I'm happy to moderate this panel and talk about the future of iBRIDGES. So what we can do and what we should do to continue grow this organization that we can better help our community. So I'm really, really honored to be moderating this panel with these fantastic people that I'm calling them up on the stage. Dear Kamran, Elahian, please give him a round of applause. Dear Piruz Parvarande, Fereydoun Taslimi, Haleh Sami, Nadereh Jan Chamlou, and I would like to acknowledge another board member who is here, Mr. Ramin Bagheri, who is sitting here, and two other board members who couldn't make to be here today, Ali Datpe and also Linda Bernardi. Please give them a round of applause as well. Thank you so much. So this panel discussion will be very brief and to the point, because we are looking forward to hear more from Kamran in the next station, and I'm looking forward to it very much. Let me start with Kamran. You have been the founding member of iBRIDGES and also involved in creation of number of other organizations. Please let us know that how iBRIDGES can continue to learn from other organizations similar to one that you have been involved and continue the good work it has been done so far.
Good afternoon. It's such a pleasure to see so many smiling faces, and definitely being in Toronto and Canada is such a great relief. It really is fantastic. Those of you who have heard all of the stories about what is happening under our current administration, it is difficult to be a foreigner in America right now, especially of Iranian descent. But talking about the iBRIDGES, first of all, I want to make sure there were about 7 of us who were co-founders of iBRIDGES, so there is a lot of undue credit that's given to me that I don't deserve, and but I appreciate the nice comments. And every one of them was much smarter and much better looking and had more hair than I did. So it is important to recognize it wasn't something that I created. It was 7 of us who created it. And what we wanted to do was to create an institution. Therefore, we made it so that the board membership would change every couple years, and it would be an institution that grows and becomes better. And I actually stopped being a board member about 4 years ago, and My wife, who was in the co-founding part of that, stopped being a board member about 8-9 months ago. So under the leadership of the new board members, a lot of great things are happening, and it's getting bigger and better. And as part of an entrepreneurial organization, recognizing that change is good, and recognizing that our celebration of change and propensity to change determines our future is very key. So already we went through one change in terms of, instead of zeroing in only on entrepreneurs from Iran, having an approach to high-tech entrepreneurs of Iranian descent that is inclusive to all Iranian descent people, whether they live in Iran or they live in any country, anywhere, as long as they're involved in high-tech entrepreneurship, is key. And having looked at some of the other organizations that they grew, I was involved, a charter member of the Thai organization, TIE, which started around late 90s, and it became quite successful as they recognized that they need to have a global approach. Thai stood for the Indus entrepreneurs, and it was entrepreneurs from India, from Pakistan, from Bangladesh, from Sri Lanka, and they said that in order for them to move forward, they had to create local chapters that really did things that benefited each chapter, and that is a great way to grow organizations. So if I can offer any idea, and of course the board are quite more knowledgeable and capable than I am, I would say look into the ways that you could clone effectively the global organization and create local chapters of that, because that has been the strategy on the most successful global high-tech entrepreneurship group that I know is Thai, that has several hundred or maybe over 1,000 different chapters all over the world.
Thank you very much. Let me now turn to Fereydoun Taslimi, the iBRIDGES president. Fereydoun, how do you see iBRIDGES in the future? And can you share with our audience some of the ideas that the current board has in mind?
Well, thank you. Just to briefly just go over our platform, we want to create a network of entrepreneurs of Iranian descent, number one. Two, provide mentorship, and then create a resource, a platform on our website for all the entrepreneurs that can go there and actually see what is happening, what kind of resources there is available. And then as Kamran said, our goal is to be able to create chapters, local chapters in different countries, and then yearly be able to get together and see how we can help each other. But one of the things that we need, or we really need it bad, is you guys. We need mentors. We need people from this group and our own community to come forward and say, we are willing to be mentors. This is very important. We have to build that base. And also, we need to develop the idea of give back. It's very important. I know our parents, every time they wanted to open a masjid or something, there was a lot of money. But when it comes down to other things, it's a little difficult. I remember at the iBRIDGES in Berkeley, David McClure made fun of us Iranians. He said, you guys make a little bit of money, just go buy a property. Why don't you go invest in startups? Well, this is what we want to do. We like to create an environment where we can provide you with that opportunity so you can give back. And give back is not always money. This idea of mentorship, being able to help. My office is in a startup complex called Atlanta Tech Village. It is a very interesting environment. There's about 500 startups there. And the reason I went there, I have my own building, but I decided to go there because it's exciting. You know, you go down there, everybody's working on something new. You make new friends. You guys came down here, I'm sure you've made some new friends. This is the kind of environment we want. Now, our building, when you come into the parking lot, there is a little sign there that says, startups don't have to be hard. And you know what? It doesn't have to be if we all get together. Today they keep saying perseverance, perseverance. This is really the most important thing for guys who start startups. When you start a startup, there's a lot of obstacles. You know, all kinds of people that come to you and say, oh yeah, this other guy's doing your idea. You know, why are you doing this? And then you run out of money, and you get all kinds of things. We need to be able to help each other. So this is the environment we want to create. We want to create environment where we come and find new friends and we can help each other. So this is basically the future that I see, and we need your help.
Thank you, Kamran, for the ambition you have set for the iBRIDGES board. So let's now move to Piruz. Based on your intervention this morning, that you greatly depicted the contribution of Iranians globally. My question now is, how can iBRIDGES help amplify what Iranians have already been so good at it?
That's a great question, thank you. I think as I mentioned in my talk, there are a lot of parallels between what IACP is doing or trying to do and what iBRIDGES has done. And the fundamental similarity, I think, is both organizations are trying to empower, enable, and encourage and inspire a group of people. Now, the group of people that iBRIDGES is focused on are the people who are entrepreneurial and have an entrepreneurial bent. IACP has a slightly different, or it's got a different mandate. But I think that, you know, as I mentioned, one of the pillars that IACP is founded on is collaboration. And collaboration, especially with like-minded organizations such as iBRIDGES. And I've served at iBRIDGES for a number of years as well. So I know the organization reasonably well. I think there's a great opportunity for us to establish a collaborative relationship. And one of the minimal things that we can do on the IACP side is there are a tremendous number of stories, accomplishments, contributions that the thousands of members of iBRIDGES on LinkedIn have already provided in their lifetime, right? So if I were to look at it selfishly from the IACP perspective, there's a way for us to collect that data, you know, and crunch it and basically create a high-level summary, right? To basically highlight the contributions of people of Iranian descent to technology. That's certainly one way in which we can collaborate. Another way, of course, is for us, hopefully at some point in time, because we're reaching a population that is not necessarily entrepreneur-based, but there might be physicians or real estate agents or what have you, attorneys, et cetera, maybe we can give back. Maybe we can amplify and advertise what iBRIDGES is doing. It certainly would be part of our charter. And hopefully also expand awareness of iBRIDGES such that it becomes a give back to iBRIDGES. So I envision that maybe through further conversation and brainstorming, we can create a win-win for everybody and really empower our community to a greater degree. There's also a lot of learning that we can do from one another. I mean, you know, there's definitely best practices and a lot of other things that we can do. So I see a lot of possibilities.
Great, thank you for those inspiring comments. Nadereh, from your own experience, what are 3 important things that iBRIDGES can do for the future of our community?
Well, first of all, thank you very much for this. Does this work? Yeah. First of all, thank you very much for this very interesting and extremely exciting day. I have been really enjoying every single minute of it. Frankly, I think that if iBRIDGES didn't exist already, we would have to invent it. I think this is one thing that we all have, I think I speak for everybody, we've come away that we're glad that you started it and we have now the responsibility to continue it. And I would like to say that, I mean, my husband is an immigrant, I'm an immigrant, he's from Holland, and I see that the world for a Dutch immigrant is very different than an Iranian immigrant. And I am so proud that the Iranian community has achieved what it has achieved, given all the challenges and the hurdles and the difficulties that we have had on both sides, from the other side as well as here. And I think that what we can do as iBRIDGES, plus all the other networks too, Tirgan and everything else, is to bring people together, to bring the Iranian community together so that we can help each other. So from that perspective, I think that iBRIDGE can bring three values. One is that to connect people who are like-minded and are interested in, solving problems or starting companies. So that's one thing, just that experience exchange, so that not everybody has to reinvent the wheel, not everybody has to make the same mistakes, and so in other words, we help each other. The second thing is that we can, through this network, hopefully we can improve or we can expand the economic footprint of the Iranian community, the economic impact of the Iranian community to the communities in which they live, in which they operate, in which they, want to sell. And through that economic impact, I think we can have more influence on policy making as it reflects our own lives here in the countries where we live, or in the communities where we live. I live in Northern Virginia, and fortunately we have come together as a community, and we are able to go to our representative and say, we are also 10 minutes away from Mr. Trump, but anyway. So we are able now to go and say, we don't like this Muslim bank. We want to have change. And I think part of that was because we have an important economic impact in Northern Virginia that we can now use in order to have our voices heard. So the 3 points of first, we want to have everyone learn from each other's success and avoid each other's mistakes. Second, to grow a much bigger and more prosperous community, and through that also influence the policies that affect ourselves, our children, and others who come from abroad. That's what I think iBRIDGE can do to contribute to this growth.
Great comments. Thank you very much. Haleh, what about partnership with other organizations? How iBRIDGES can build a relationship with other organizations that could be beneficial to its objectives?
Thank you. Let me also, since is it working? Yeah. Since I didn't get a chance to speak earlier, to thank everyone for being here. Usually attending this kind of conferences, I always see that by this time of day, half the room at least is empty. And sitting here seeing that not a single person has left is really a testimony to how necessary it is for these kind of gatherings to take place. And actually, I was having lunch with a lady who was saying, why is this just one day? We need time to know each other, and we need time to learn from each other. And there are so many things that we can exchange with each other that we don't have an opportunity to do. So I think this kind of thing is so important, and we're very grateful that so many of you have come, and that although there is Tirgan, there is a lot of music and dancing and poetry and so on going on there, which may be more fun than sitting here, that so many of you are here today. And actually, I also want to thank the non-Iranians who are here, because there are several non-Iranians. I had the pleasure of having one at our table who have spent the whole day here and patiently listened to also some of our Persian jokes and laughed with us. So thank you so much for your patience. In terms of working with others, I think had iBRIDGES not worked with others from day one, it would not have gone anywhere. At the beginning, I think Kamran mentioned to me it was Berkeley, the University of Berkeley, that was a very big partner, a very big anchor in making iBRIDGES a reality. And since then, we've partnered along the way with many, many organizations. And I think as Fereydoun set out this more ambitious outlook for iBRIDGES, and usually we've been going from conference to conference and really nothing in between. As we want to have events happening in between, as we want to have these contacts continue in between, we will need a lot of help. And that means geographic expansion, which means the chapters that we've been talking about. So how can we grow geographically through partnerships, but also how can we grow through our mandate through partnerships. For example, we just spoke with somebody from the University of Waterloo, which has one of the best entrepreneurship courses in Canada. And we may be able to collaborate with the University of Waterloo to be able to offer entrepreneurship courses or help young people. A lot of you are sitting here in how you can improve your pitch, how you can become better salespeople, how you're techies, but you don't know how to do the other business side of things, how you can learn about that. So I think iBRIDGES can go in all these different directions, and partnerships is going to help us get there. So there are numerous opportunities for doing that, and I just mentioned a few, but I think the list is long, and we'll explore them over time with the board. Thank you.
Thank you very much for all your good ideas and suggestions. We could talk about future of iBRIDGES for hours, but due to time constraint, we need to wrap up. But I would like to open the floor for a couple of quick questions. Yes, Mr. Alidad.
Thank you very much, Mahboob, and congratulations to all the panelists for all the insights you've shared today. I think what makes this year's iBRIDGES really inspiring is that it's happening together with Tirgan, arguably a great example of social entrepreneurship, which Mr. Aryan Nejad, the CEO of Tirgan, mentioned. I'd like to ask anybody who'd like to comment on it, how you see the relationship between business entrepreneurship and social entrepreneurship in general, and how you see the relationship between iBRIDGES and an organization such as Tirgan more specifically, and this notion of partnerships with other like-minded organizations that Mr. Pararande discussed. I'd like to see how you see that moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any volunteer?
My view of social impact is probably a little bit different than what you might be thinking of. If I ask the audience, name #1 highest social impact organization in the world, who would you name? What would be the name of that organization?
I'd say Gates Foundation, for example.
Red Cross?
Apple. Apple has had the #1 highest impact in evolution of our species, humanities, as an organization. Why? Because it brought access to computing from several $1 million to a few $100 and soon to be less than $100. Think about that. Apple disrupted the human-machine interface. How many of you remember under Microsoft, Bill Gates' genius, we had to use 3 fingers, Control, Alt, Delete. Press it, and to just get your machine to wake up. That wasn't Microsoft's fault, but I'm not against Microsoft. I'm just trying to say, if you remember how if you had a software program that you wanted to sell it, before Apple, you had 3 choices: Egghead Software, Comp USA, Intelligent Electronics. And the software packages were all big, and they would only give space to, guess what? Microsoft, Oracle, Lotus, big names. Apple created the first cloud, first in the form of iTunes, and then rename it under the name of App Store, so that now you have a few million apps available, and anybody who develops an app can go put it there and distribute it. Apple developed the whole infrastructure, trained us how to use computers totally easily at reduced cost, and receiving, whether it is books, whether it is music. The music industry was not willing to let anything go in the hand of high-tech community because of piracy. The first organization that tried that, Napster, was sued and killed by music industry. The emergence of Netflix, all of these are based on Apple's contribution that made lives of all of us so much richer. Who is number 2? Google. Put all the knowledge of the world in every language in the hands of all of us for free. So my definition of social entrepreneurship is, it doesn't matter whether you are making money as a for-profit or non-profit. It doesn't matter. What matters is social impact in a sustainable way that moves forward. Therefore, if you have a choice and you are thinking to do something that benefits society. Don't create a gambling on internet. Don't create a new way of e-cigarettes that kills your customers. Don't develop a new virus that steals people's money. Innovation by itself could be very bad. Do the right kind of things that has positive social impact.
Thank you very much. Next, who has not asked questions today? One brave person who has not asked questions today. Yeah, Nima.
Another one there.
Okay, we can take 2 quick questions. Nima and then Shoma. Then you.
Hello, my name is Nima, founder of a tech company in Toronto. We do augmented reality. It's great to have iBRIDGE in Toronto, a foundation built by a Persian community. My question was mostly toward, how is this community backing itself? How is it supporting itself? And like on your mandate, there's a talk about mentorship, plus getting relationship built with the investment community. How successful have you been in making those connections? What are the plans coming up? Because it's iBridge 2.0. Is there any, are there any steps laid down for future to come for the initiatives you're taking? Thank you.
Unless you want to answer that. If you look at iBRIDGES, it has a physical presence conference and it has the virtual presence. Biggest one group on LinkedIn has 8,100 members. And any one of you can apply and get accepted to iBRIDGES group on LinkedIn. 8,100 of high-tech entrepreneurs of Iranian descent are there. all of you go and apply if you are not already a member, and check through this group. You have access to that 8,100 high-tech entrepreneurs from all over the world. I use that continuously. I will share with you one idea. A couple years ago, I wanted to visit some high-tech entrepreneurs of Iranian descent in Sweden. I first went to Sweden in 2000. I was invited by a senator per bill in Swedish parliament to go and give a lecture there 19 years ago. And I hadn't been there till about 3 years ago. And Prince Daniel, who married Princess Beatrice, he has a high-tech entrepreneurship. So this time I got the invitation to go and give a talk at Founders Alliance. And I thought, I'm going there, let me see. So I went on LinkedIn, and I checked 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 10, 12, 15. I was astounded how many high-tech entrepreneurs, Iranian, Swedish people are on LinkedIn. I wrote to a few of them, didn't know any of them, just sent them using iBRIDGES group. And I said, I'm coming to town, to Stockholm. Do you think we could have a meeting? And they said, sure. They arranged a conference room. First they said the size is 50, then they say 80, then they say 150, then 200. I went, after just sending 3, 4 emails, met 200 Iranian, Swedish, high-tech entrepreneurs. I was astounded. And you know we have unicorns coming out of Sweden. If you don't know, go and check Serendipity Ventures. Dr. Ismail Zadeh, one of the gods of nanotech. And Serendipity Ventures is multi-billion-dollar organization. I'd never heard of it. I didn't even know it existed. It's an amazing network. Just go through LinkedIn, and I go to South Africa, I go there and I check it. I go to Mozambique, I go and check it. It's unbelievable.
Let me just add to what Kamran said. So after the conference, we'd like to be able to build an ecosystem so you can hear from us and interact. To sustain this organization, we need your help. We need you to go tell your friends, hey, there is this organization, and this is what they're doing. And if you can join as, again, as mentors or as volunteers, or help us build these chapters, this is what we need. And again, to be able to sustain ourselves on a continuous basis, we need you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So sorry, we need to wrap up because we need to leave the place at 4:30. There's another function here at 6. For that, we need to hear from you about the future of iBRIDGES. On behalf of iBRIDGES board, I propose to send an email to you especially and share some of the ideas we have in the board and get your feedbacks. What could be the future of iBRIDGES? And if you share your ideas, we will discuss that, and based on that, we will direct the future of the iBRIDGES. Thank you so much. Thank you for our great panelists. Please give them a big round of applause. And now I have to give back the floor back to dear Asya. Thank you.
Thank you. Kamran Jun, so you need to stay up here. So sorry. Oh, picture.